Hello, everybody, and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm John, the executive producer here, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. I particularly want to thank our $25 tier supporters on Patreon: Rowan Parker, Trevian Alexander, Samantha Bates, Cat Waterflame, and Elle, without whom we wouldn't be able to do nearly as much of the things that we do. So thank you very much to them. Thank you to everyone else that watches, and if you're watching live here on Twitch, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we're live! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Gran, Terra, Shadowfront. I don't know why I've gone into an announcer voice, but here it is! I'm John, your game master for the evening. And, welcome to episode 2 of the Final Days. I'm joined today by Mara.
I'm Mara. I'm playing Titania Valkorian, Eladrin, Druid of the Circle of Grim Harvest.
And I really wanted to say Roll Destiny right then, but I know that's not the right system.
I can still do it.
I'd be really impressed if you could roll Destiny in this Roll20. Also being joined by Camille.
Hi, I'm Alana. I'm playing the role of Camille tonight. I am also playing Annabella, the Human Ranger.
And Jack.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack. I'm playing Gentmanar, the half-elf spellslinger, and I am definitely ready to rumble.
And Craig.
Good evening! Tonight I'll be playing the part of Grumman Bellmender. And I can punch things 4 times, but I'll only need the edge of the first punch. Back to you, John.
And
Why did you just sound like Chris Evans' character from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World?
Fantastic, though, wasn't it?
It was great, don't get me wrong.
Sorry, apparently something weird is happening with the advanced audio capture, and you're all sounding staticky? I don't know. I'm not hearing the static, which you'd think I would be, considering that it's my audio that they're hearing. But anyways, also being joined by Holly.
Hi. Craig killed me.
Well,
I'm
no,
Holly.
killed the murder weapon.
Hi, Holly's ghost.
I am playing Vespia, Tiefling Chandler.
Right. And Cody.
Good evening, John. I'm Cody. I am playing.
I like how only
I'll be
half of
playing-
you are sticking with the bit.
Yep.
That's about standard for us.
Yeah.
I'll be playing Ithram Valar tonight, Hobgoblin War Wizard. Back to you. I'm the weatherman. I just say the thing and then go.
I love the unnecessary back to you as well. That's perfect. We had the news. We had Craig with the news desk and Cody with the weather.
Still hot out.
Just
it
cutting
sure
in.
is. Anyway, John.
We broke him! We finally did it, people!
Sorry, folks. Seems like we're having some technical difficulties with John in the field.
We finally broke him with our intros!
Jack, going to you. What's it like out there?
Bird games.
Not there, Jeremy.
I am Jeremy. I am playing Sin, Changeling, Warlock, and D&D Beyond. I love you, but if you think I'm gonna pay $4 for your shitty digital dice skins, you're insane.
Well, they're NFTs, Jeremy.
Don't know, Jesus. If you think if that were the case, if you think I paid 1 cent, you're insane.
An interesting viewpoint from our financial advisor. Now,
And
back to you, John.
William.
Was that aimed at me?
Yes.
Oh, I've been busy dying this entire time. I could not come up with a reporter voice if you put a gun to my head right now. Oh God! Hi, I'm William. I'm playing Valdez Stonebeard, Dwarven Samurai.
All right, hang on. I'm trying to fix the audio here because apparently it's real bad. They can't hear you anymore. Which is
I was gonna
possibly
say,
for the best. There. I've changed the audio around. Let's see if maybe this is better. Anyways.
I need to breathe, so that needs to stop.
There's some samples. Hopefully that's better. Anyways, when last we left off.
Update at 7:30 from William in the field regarding difficulties
The
with
longer you
breathing.
guys talk, the longer it is till break. For those of you that need a break.
This is my passive protest of you not breaking whenever I wanted and not getting my way like a spoiled child. Back to you, John.
For the record, I briefly unmuted Twitch. It sounds good to me.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, that would be after I switched the audio around, so I guess it might be something to do with the the application audio, the feature that I was using to capture audio. So we'll worry about that later. Yeah, multiple sorts of static. Anyways, when last we left off, the Steelhearts were having dinner with their reunion back at the Steelhearts estate in Grifftop, having reconvened after a year apart from one another with all manner of Black Lives Matter, trans rights, and human rights. I don't know, y'all threw me off and I forgot all of that. Anyways,
Okay, I bet.
Camille, you're
Lana.
Alana,
That happened. It was Craig's fault.
Yeah. It was.
Blame the wizards.
Please blame with.
Fuck Russia.
Not always.
They've all
Russia.
they've all reconvened with a variety of leads for a variety of tasks and a new helper, Vespia, who apparently can retrieve some information at night when she rests. We pick back up in the dining hall, where many of you are finishing eating up, and Titania had just explained that she needed to hunt and kill a Reaper, specifically one of Dagoth's Reapers, in order to acquire a scythe from the Reaper. And it's a task that can only be done one-on-one. So, go.
Look, I'm not opposed to that idea. But are we even sure that the scythe of a Reaper can do much?
It can kill anything, even immortals. That's what Abernar told me. Archdruid.
I mean, there's probably a reason that Abernar was able to just walk out of the city without being accosted.
Yes.
So here's my concern. We have many things on our table. They have varying use levels, varying potentiality, but the ones that specifically give us weapons propose that we, talented as we all clearly are, have a snowball's chance at the bottom of the 9 hells, one floor up, because I think the bottom is very cold, but one floor up of even touching a god should we try to strike.
I
You
feel
have
that
another.
sort of what the apotheosis ritual would be necessary for then.
Exactly.
And I think, to a great extent, a number of these weapons and items to acquire might form a decent scaffolding or framework to build on which to build our plan for acquiring the ritual.
That's not unfair.
But yes, no, I think the linchpin in all of this thing will be fascinating to say, turning one of us into a god. Maybe more than one. Who knows?
Or perhaps one of the things that do not specifically require the act of going directly into combat. Not that combat isn't an option, but
I'd argue that I would argue, however, that if why am I forgetting the firstborn's name? Tronalian. that if Ternalian did not want to go toe-to-toe with Abranar, that a mortal wielding the appropriate weapon is still a threat.
Potentially.
Well, and that's not saying that. I mean, Tenalian may have been busy elsewhere, and it was simply that none of his delegated representatives felt like going toe-to-toe with Abranar.
I feel like if your grand generals of your demon army see something they don't want to touch, that draws the attention of the leader.
Unless Abranar leaving the city with probably a comparative handful of survivors simply wasn't high enough on the priority list for them to address in the moment.
I feel like that shows weakness that someone like that wouldn't want to allow.
I think it's also a
want
point
to
worth
allow.
noting that we are short on time, so we definitely need to prioritize here.
Agreed.
I also want to ask, and Grumman is at this point pulling up a new bottle and in the process of uncorking a sort of round bottom bottle, and says, it's been bandied about that there may be at least one, maybe even more than one of the Steelhearts who would have to assume a form of godhood or some sort of immortality to pursue at least one of those goals.
Here we go.
Who is it that would actually want such a thing? Because I know it wouldn't be me. And he sort of is coming over towards
Gen's hand is
Tanya,
already up.
and is reaching out to pour into Tanya's glass and refill it with the sort of dark red liquid out of this bottle. Can I top you up there, dear?
Yeah.
You didn't seem particularly enthusiastic about it. I see we've got Gent there volunteering. Anybody else want to go for this ride?
Yes.
All right. Well, that's two at least.
But before we jump on becoming gods, as delightful and transcendent as that may be, I think it is also worth looking into the things that may not. We don't know if they're going to involve direct combat because we don't know exactly what the deal behind them is, such as the first death.
Right.
The graves. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We don't know what's behind those. For all we know, the first death might learn, oh yes, all you need to do is insert random thing here, voodoo doll it, and
I'll
Smelling
offer
falls
the
over
counter
dead.
argument, however, that the first death could only lead us to knowledge that would tell us about the origins of death and what it takes to kill a god, but not the tools to do it with.
exactly
Whereas a weapon has a specified purpose.
That could be.
I mean,
useful
I have
for
to
me.
say, I think I'd be in favor, as has been pointed out, limited amount of time and all, trying for the easy ones first. At least that way we've got something in our pockets.
Like taking an examination. Speed through, answer what you know first, and then come back to the complicated ones and see if they're worth trying.
Jeremy.
yes,
I would.
that is
I
why
would also. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jeremy. Go ahead.
Just for
that is
damn it.
damn it.
I didn't do it. That was my fault.
No, that wasn't you.
No, I was just going to point out for the players when I call out a person specifically, let them talk.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. That is why the things like the first death and other things are things that when you travel back to your place, Vespia, should definitely be researched. Because if we can get the answer there, we don't have to go on a months-long quest to figure it out. That's the quick answer for that one. And potentially some of these others.
We're racking up quite the list. Please tell me your requests before I go to bed on what
First
I'm
death.
looking for. All right.
The mortal blade.
Hmm.
Slight editorial sidebar. Vespia, this is the first time we've consulted you on knowledge and research and that sort of thing. Is it something you can do every evening or simply once every so often, or
Every evening.
should we give her maybe 3 to start with tonight so that she could devote a lot of time rather than spreading herself too thin?
And Vespia, you know that basically what your ability does, you see through the eyes of other versions of you. You have no way of guaranteeing what they are going to be researching. This is basically just things that you are going to try to keep an out for while they are searching through. So it's kind of, it's not predictable.
Okay.
As to what you'll find. You can like have you can keep in mind things that you want to find, but you can't guarantee that you'll be looking in that particular area this tonight, whatever, etc.
I should clarify that when I do this, I'm looking through the eyes of another version of myself rather than looking it up myself. So I can look out for these things, but I can't control it very well.
So it would make more sense for us to give you the whole of our list, and if anything is able to be checked off, you can do that.
Here,
Yes,
I'll start making a list. Grumman pulls out a like a battered old spiral-bound pad and a nub of a pencil and starts scribbling stuff down. All right, so we've got the scythe, right? Here, you all just start shouting them out. I'll write them down.
The death.
The death. Okay.
The scythe and how to find or call one of Dagos Reapers. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, Dagos rulers. Okay. Reaper.
I feel like the soul coins is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think we need any additional information on that unless I'm wrong.
Actually, we do. If your library has some sort of stepwise technical documents on the forging of soul coins into material that could be utilized in a ballistic manner, rendering the raw material and then forging it into some sort of god-killing or at least god-harming projectile.
My library absolutely has that. I don't know if I will be able to obtain the information, though.
Understood. Simply looking for procedural documents, if you stumble across those in one of your realities.
Fuck, what was the goddamn name of the sword?
Yeah.
Wasn't it the Mortal Blade?
Nyedizim. The Mortal Blade of Nyedizim.
Also the Mage King's Regalia.
Right, Mage King's Regalia.
Locations.
There's something about a grave, right?
Yes, the Fiend Hunter's Grave.
Fiend Hunter's Grave.
Yes. I have one more as well, in addition to the Fiend Hunter's Grave. That's in the Valkyrie Islands, by the way.
Valkyrie Islands, sorry.
Valkyrie Isles.
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie. I'm sorry, I misread
Avid
that. I'm sorry,
erasing
not Valkyrie
and then
Isles. Yes. The other thing is, and I realize we might very well be quite past this point, but just on the off chance, if there's anything that can buy us more time.
Buy more time. Anybody mind if I add the Ever Ice to the list?
I mean, if you want to add it to the list, and it might be useful, we can add it to the list.
And then a question, not for the list, you understand. And he as he's still sort of scratching down the last couple things, which are Ever Ice obtaining and Ever Glacier where is. He turns toward. I am blanking on your character's name, Holly. I'm sorry. Vespia. Turns toward Vespia and says, "Hey, one more, not for the list, but I assume before you start on this sort of thing, a nightcap wouldn't go astray. What sort of thing are you in the mood for?" I've got a rather nice port here, and he's the bottle that he's been pouring out. He will top up anybody who is willing.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
She'll take a glass. This entire time, she has one hand on a glass and the other arm wrapped around Ithram. You get no privacy. I'm sorry.
He's also got a glass.
But are you really sorry?
I'm sorry, Vespia isn't.
Top ups for the happy couple. Is it into Ithram as well? All right. So, anything else? Looks around.
Drummond, what's your passive perception?
I don't think it's terrible.
No, that's mine.
I say it's wisdom based, so it shouldn't be that bad.
10 plus your wisdom plus your perception modifier, basically.
Yeah, I thought I had the sheet open, but I was still in my character select. It's 14.
14. You've probably noticed Gent has been drinking nothing but water this entire meal.
Oh yeah, and I feel like if he declined the first time it was offered, Grumman will refill the water, but will not continue.
Oh no, specifically out of his own water skin. He's not even letting anybody serve him a drink at this point.
Okay, all right, yeah, fair. Grumman owns a bar. He does not push stuff on people who are not actively drinking. So
just a note, my
I
passive
appreciate
perception is 25.
Nice.
Okay.
Ranger.
That tracks.
Well, my passive insight is 19, but
Yeah,
Well, not
insight's where
25.
mine comes into play.
11.
don't ask me about my passive investigation.
9.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, 19,
on that note, by the way, Grumman tears off the piece of paper and hands it over to Vespia. The handwriting is terrible, and about half of it is misspelled.
That's fine.
So
She's seen
please
worse.
put the list in an itemized fashion, in whatever itemized fashion you put it, Craig, in the chat for me. It'll be useful.
Oh man,
for
I
me
wasn't
to-
volunteering to do any actual work.
I did write down most of it.
Stupid
Though
homework.
I scribbled it on something that I have other notes on, so it's a little hard to read.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm happy to do it.
It's relevant for me because I think to do. All right, so while Craig is typing that up, is there anything else you are doing before, presumably, going for a long rest?
Bath.
Grumman will make hot chocolate or hot milk for everybody who wants it.
That was the actual place we left off. So some of you head towards the hot tubs.
That's right.
Which
we
are
did.
broken.
And you find that they are not only dry, but the fire orbs have no heat.
Ah, that's fucking disappointing.
That day.
Fire.
All right. I'm sure I can get this.
Does
going
it just
tonight.
need Are they magical? Do they just need fire?
No, they were magical. They were enchanted stones that heated the water around them.
Can Gent analyze these and see if they are well and truly broken or if they just need recharging or something?
Sure, you can give me an Arcana check or an Investigation check, whichever you prefer.
Sin is just
Well,
doing some
God.
prestidigitation a foot at a time, cleaning the thing up
can
because
create
it's
and destroy
certainly not
water.
in good shape.
Oh yeah, no, it's
26.
Thank
I'll-
you,
I'll-
Ithram, for being
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Get-
well, I'll walk over and look at him.
Gent, you're looking at it.
Too.
You're looking at it, and you're like, you put the goggles down, you put them back up, you put them back down, you put them back up. Seems like a perfectly round sphere to you.
I'm gonna
Ithram.
What-
Wait, yeah. Ithram,
Mm-hmm.
you look at it from a more magical perspective, sort of, rolling your eyes to one side as you glance into the arcane.
Now they roll back.
Yeah.
Start throat
The,
singing.
all of the fire ether within these stones has basically been sucked dry. All of the fire attuned ether that made them generate heat has been consolidated into the rest of the stone. Now it's just a perfectly smooth ball of stone.
Is this similar to what was happening over in the Shadowfront, or is this just natural degradation?
A little
Because
bit of,
if it's
little bit of both. It seems less like it's not the same as what was happening in the Shadowfront. This seems more like something ate it than like something actively devoured the flame within, rather than consolidated it all into a pure ether. The stone is still stone. It's just no longer has that fire magic in it, as opposed to being turned into something else.
This sucks. I'm gonna go help Grumman clean up.
Yeah, I rolled insight, except it's Tinker's tools, as long as I can use wisdom for it.
In regards to what?
In regard to eventually getting the stuff cleaned and working, like if I can work on the actual plumbing.
Yeah,
because I'm proficient in Tinker's tools, Mason's, like all kinds of tools.
Yeah, so you take a look at it. The core functionality of the hot tubs was the fire orbs, basically. It was sort of a quick way to generate heat without having to rig up any complex machinery. Ultimately, it's basically a series of connected buckets with water flowing through them. So you could make something more complex that would do the job without relying on the magical stones. But you need to run pipes to a boiler, and you need to do a bunch of other stuff, and you're sort of like sketching plans in the back of your head as to how you would turn this into a functional hot tub again, but it wouldn't be easy or quick.
Ithrim, do you think you can recharge these things?
Would I be able to?
Potentially.
I could give it a shot.
How many fire spells do you know?
Let's see. One. Let's see. I have the metamagic feat though that lets me change damage type. So literally any spell that does elemental damage is fire.
Okay, cool.
Can be.
I just like the one.
And that was firebolt.
Not really a fire mage, are you?
No. I'm any kind of mage.
I mean, I have green flame blade, but I don't think we want to be striking these things repeatedly with the sword, especially not my sword.
You are familiar. The reason why I ask how many fire spells you know is because it's less about being able to change the elemental damage of your spells as it is being familiar with that particular elemental type. Like if you were an elemental adept, that would have been enough to qualify. Period. But so
other than that, I have at least 3 or 4 fire spells.
Okay, yeah, they're natively fire spells. Okay, so yeah,
Yes.
you're familiar with weaving elemental ether. Yes, you could re-enchant these. You basically you would spend the equivalent of a first level spell slot to recharge each of them.
How many do we have?
If you hit me, if you throw it at me and it hits me in the head, I could hellish rebuke it.
There are 2.
All right, yeah. I'll say I could give it a try, and I'll like palm them, and then 2 spell slots.
Yeah. So you feel you all see a burst of flame just sort of engulf the orbs, sort of spiraling up out of Ithrim's palms into around the stones and then into them. And as the fire sinks into the stones, they regain that red, warm glow that they had previously, and you all feel the heat coming off of them. It's the heat of a bonfire, but without the actual burning sensation, just coming off of both orbs.
Thank you very much, Ithrim.
The room
now we
instantly
just
feels
need
warmer.
water.
Yes, now we just need to get the water running again.
Because yeah, I assume I finished cleaning them at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to clean the ground out
Boop,
with prestidigitation.
boop,
Boop,
boop, boop, boop.
I don't know when to stop spelling this one.
Cyclical prestidigitation.
So yeah, there are now two empty hot tubs with a pair of fire orbs that are working again, and no water. Titania.
I'm assuming fucking also did Grumman actually miss, or did you, Craig, just forget the mortal blade of Nyerizim?
I think Grumman actually missed that. I think he thought that was the scythe. So
no.
Assuming someone points that out to him, it would be
Sorry, I was looking at my spells and then I clicked on it.
All of a sudden, Vespia attacks.
I knew it.
This is what you get for forgetting something for the list.
Accidentally hit something.
Vespia views the heating of stones as an attack.
Vespia takes psychic damage from the spelling.
So,
Well, I forgot that I don't have that part up yet. I got a different thing for the staff, so I don't actually have create water, unfortunately.
It's all right. I'll just start bringing it upstairs. I assume we have water in the kitchen, or dinner probably tasted real weird.
There's a well outside. There's literally a well outside.
All right, Grumman will just start bringing it
Grumman,
up,
let's go.
4 buckets at a time.
Yeah.
I will also help with that.
Pop the forearm bracers. Here we go.
Oh, Vespia, can you
Oh, well, if they're both doing it, then I won't.
sign this? I'll hand you a piece of paper.
That's not ominous.
It's got a
It's the reincarnation
checklist.
consent form.
Make sure.
It's heavily folded by this point because I've been carrying these around just in case. One of the things says, how do you feel about being turned into a zombie? That one's crossed out. And it just says, how do you feel about being raised from the dead? Yes or no? And would you be okay with getting reincarnated? Yes or no?
Make sure you read the fine print on that.
She will read over it very well.
Yeah. Basically, she wants to get permission before she does like reincarnate on someone because certain people don't like it in this group. So
yes, I pointed you all to the well that's on the corner of the property.
Yeah. It's just if you are okay, if I do druidic magic and some of it can change your form in the process. I didn't know how you felt about that.
I'm fine with being brought back, but I would like my form to stay as it is.
Okay, please sign there then, and
Not there.
yeah. And yep, that'll do it. If you want to give me some of your hair, just in case.
She will take a knife out of her pocket and take a little lock of hair off.
Thank you.
This has probably already happened again with the cooking and everything, but Grumman spent a significant amount of his time of his retirement in the ruins, the Hive of Ruin. He definitely pokes the surface of the water if it's reachable from the top, or at least the surface of what comes up in a bucket with a 10-foot stick before bringing it into the house.
It's not a slime.
Okay. Just, like I said, a significant amount of time in the Hive of Ruin.
No, it's absolutely fair. All right, so as you all prepare to wind down, preparing the hot tubs and baths for people to wash off the dust of the long road and the grime of the year that has passed, and prepare to rest for the first night in a while in the company of others. We're going to go ahead and take an early break this week, right around here. Sorry, we started late due to technical difficulties, not on my part this time. But we'll be back in just a few minutes, so if you're watching live, please stay tuned for these commercial messages, and remember, when we take our break, you take your break. So stand up, stretch your legs, move around, do whatever you need to do. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We're back. A dinosaur story. So, some of you may notice that I rolled a 100 in the chat. That's a determination of what Vespia is going to be dreaming about. Obviously, it's
Good
confirmed.
things then?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You
It's
sometimes
very
switch
good or
it
very bad.
around.
Depends on
That's
Either
what got us
really
on,
good
on
or
the
really
Palladium
bad.
Little
discussion
concerned.
over the break.
So,
Yeah.
is there anything else anyone else is doing before your long rest?
As soon as the hot tub room is empty, he's gonna ritual cast alarm in there because what the fuck ate the aether out of this? So everybody in the house
That's a
won't
good
set it
idea.
off.
Okay.
But anything else will.
So you specify parameters, anyone in the house, or did you specify parameters Titania,
Party
Grumman,
members,
Vespia, Valdez, and
People that I have witnessed in the house.
Okay.
You know,
The
Cool.
people that he knows are here.
yes.
Can you put alarm in the chat for me just so I can refresh myself on what it does specifically?
Yes. There you go.
What is just to be clear, what is the general approach to the tub? Like, would Grumman go and get a pair of bathing shorts? What are we doing?
Full on cannonball nude.
So far,
Alright.
no one has set a standard. So
Yeah, we have naked.
I mean,
Right.
I mean,
Like before the hiatus, it was very clearly naked bathing.
That's true.
I was wondering
Yeah.
because Vespia would just take it all off.
as you can see,
Okay.
there is a dressing room in front of the hot tubs with a curtain, but
Mm-hmm.
Pa.
All right. So yeah, I
apparently
mean, when in
the
Rome.
belief is who
Okay.
cares.
When in
Pretty
Rome,
much.
take your pants off.
Grumman will get out, put on a when it's finished. Grumman gets out, puts on a like old sort of comfortably threadbare robe that he clearly has brought from home.
Does it match
And
his
some
beard?
yeah, he brought that from home too. Old scuffed up slippers, and we'll head down to the kitchen to wash up.
I need to know, what is the color of the robe?
Of Grumman's robe?
Yes.
It is a sort of like it fades. It looks like a sunset, but very faded. So think like sort of Miami Vice era beach towel.
So it was once a vibrant color, but has seen so much direct sunlight that it has faded in waves.
Yeah, pretty well. I mean, it was originally bright sunset colors. Now it's like a pastel sunset.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure.
Of
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, of interesting note that might be interesting is that I believe since Carissa right now, you might expect somebody who can change their form to be whatever they like to just always be perfect within the body. There are scars and wounds and that sort of thing
Mm-hmm.
that are on the body.
Yeah, Ghent also has some fresh scars that people have not seen before. They look like they're about probably 6 months old or so, maybe a little older.
Everyone that has fresh scars that no one else has seen before, raise your hand.
I don't think anybody's seen Grumman naked.
No one's
So.
seen Vespia
I was
before.
gonna say.
Yeah, well,
So-
that is also part of it. But
Most of the party.
On that note, Annabella actually has staggeringly few scars, considering she's a warrior. Like,
She's also an
her
archer,
skin's
though, so there's
more or less
that.
pristine. There's that.
Yep.
Competent warrior. We're saved.
I was about to say, Valdeth also has very few scars as just sort of the product of being good at her job and taking a point of not letting enemies scar her.
Or cup runneth
That
over.
part.
Grumman has, I think, comparatively few scars, at least to some of you, but very clearly has a bunch of bones that have healed in weird ways from bare knuckle
Barroom brawls.
Hmm.
It just sounds like somebody rolling dice whenever Gran walks into a room.
Yeah, well, also whenever Craig walks into a room, but for
I guess Tahani would have like pockmarks from where the mushrooms grew that are no longer there. That'd be it.
oh, are there no mushrooms whatsoever anymore?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
And the bits of her skin that glowed gold don't glow anymore.
Nope.
I think the only people that haven't seen Ithram's main big scar, like right about chest level, is Grumman and Annabella.
yeah.
Hmm.
This is all new territory for Grumman because you all were all dressed for very cold weather
Yeah.
when Grumman
Yep.
met you.
Valdeth has one major scar, which is just sort of a lateral laceration across her chest from, I believe it was very specifically catching a giant's greatsword in the chest.
Something like that, yeah.
Grumman is like not at all perturbed by the nudity as you might expect from someone who grew up in what is essentially a beach tourist town, but is also not like in any way sort of lasciviously checking people out.
Right.
Just sort of like, oh, okay, it's a hot tub situation. I know these.
Grumman
I'm
is
from a tourist
like
town.
Grumman is the old
Wait,
man in the
what-
public bath that keeps turning the hot water on.
Yeah.
There's a certain level where like the hot tub situation becomes common enough that there's no intrigue in seeing other people naked
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Lesby, on the other hand, is checking everyone out.
I've never reached
Atta
that
girl.
part myself, but I hear it exists.
Annabelle is definitely closer to Grumman than Vespia, for sure. Like, she's like, okay, cool. We're doing the hot tub thing. Sweet. No big deal.
Grumman has also brought in several large pitchers of water. If anyone is capable of making ice, that would be added to it.
And there is in the middle of each of the, you can sort of see it in the artwork, but in the middle of each of the hot tubs, there is a sort of like table, like this sort of built-in central table that you can place things on, from which the water cycles when it's that way. The hot water flows up into that and then pours back out to keep the water circulating, so you don't stew.
Mm-hmm. There is also a keg if anyone wants it. He's brought cups up. There's also a pony keg of like a really hoppy ale, like a pale ale. One of those ones that's very refreshing when you're very hot.
Gran, Terra, relax with alcohol in a hot tub night.
If we turn the lights down, I can do fairy fire over the water.
Ooh, right. Let's get that going.
Lit by fairy fire.
Yep.
You all have a relaxing evening with a communal bath. Any specific bath discussions or just general small talk?
Valdeth definitely does, as she suggested, take a moment to sort of like lean over the side of the bath and actually like shave the whiskers that she has accrued, because they can't become a full beard, so they're just going to look bad.
Relaxing.
Unless anybody starts a serious conversation, Annabelle is just kind of doing general small talk.
Yeah, likewise, Grumman's just I think would ask people what they've been up to. We'll also specifically ask Valdeth. Well, is Valdeth just dry shaving or is there lather?
She's probably just dry shaving, honestly.
Grumman will sort of grimace and go like, "Oh God, all right, just hold on, lass, I'll be right back." And like hops up naked out of the bath, but wet footsteps running down the hall. If anybody is not in the bathroom, you see Grumman just like free swinging it down the hallway, run into his room, and we'll come back in with a small like ceramic mug, a boar's hair brush, and a little like I guess it would probably be like a little sort of porcelain screw top canister of like solid puck soap to whip up into foam.
And she'll apply that and shave a little bit smoother. Thank you, Grumman.
It gives me the creepers just watching you do it. Dry shaving's no way to be.
Everstone women can't really grow facial hair very much, if at all, so not really used to having to shave all that much. In fact, it's a bit strange to see the whiskers come in as they have. It's road stress primarily, but
Well, I don't think they look bad, but if you'd like to have them out, best be comfortable about it.
Hmm.
I
That was
tell you
actually
what, I really
one of-
only use it for this part, and he brushes the one shaved part of his face with just the chin. He said, "So you can use it for the rest, and we'll go through it at about the normal pace there."
it was one of the more difficult things about the era when I had to pass myself off as the son of my family rather than the daughter, is that seeing a male dwarf clean shaven was a mark of extreme eccentricity, so I had to pass that off.
That's a right shame. Everybody should be able to do whatever they want with their old whiskers. How long was it you had to pass yourself off as a son, if you don't mind me asking?
Until about a year ago when we came back to Everstone.
And from what age were you?
Since I was able to be seen in public, so a child.
That sounds right rough.
Everstone's
Sounds awful.
Everstone's what we call a bit backwards in terms of its social climate. Highly advanced technology, masterful arms work, and excellent engineering, but a bit constrictive as far as the roles of women.
Well,
Now they know who you are.
you will shed of it then.
Well, they're working on it. Now that the High King of Everstone has declared me to be the rightful Thane of my house, despite my gender, the other houses had best shut up and take notice, especially if they want my help defending against demons.
Has it been going well? I know you've been visiting there.
It also helps that a lot of the leaders of the other houses all died in a dwarf plague.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that? Has it been going well though? You've been visiting there.
My blade's seen a fair share of action over the year. Mostly skirmishes, nothing too outright invasion yet, but the cannons have seen more work than I have.
But pointed outward, not in then. No duels or anything of the sort.
I've had to put down one or two uppity officers who didn't take kindly to taking orders from a woman until I broke their nose with the pommel of my blade.
I was going to say put down or put down, because those are two separate things.
Put down in the sense that they're still breathing. So because I couldn't afford to waste good officers.
You also know that in the year since, the High King has recovered enough of his vitality to actually be more mobile. He's probably never going to participate in full-on battle again, but he's still strong enough to defend himself, and he's much more mobile than he was when the rest of them saw him last.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is fair, but not being able to afford it hasn't stopped certain places from doing it anyways.
Let's say I intend to be better than most of the places I've seen.
I have no doubt of that.
So does that mean then that Ghent and Titania are royal consorts or
Titania is technically a royal in her own right, which is why I was initially arranged to be married to her.
I see. All right. So that was that before you'd even met?
I was sent to the city of Tiram as an arranged marriage with Titania while I was still under the guise of Jarl Valdeth rather than Thane's daughter. And as it turns out, it was a shrewder call than I could have ever given my mother credit for.
I'm glad to hear that happy part of it. And Ghent, what about you? How did you fall into this? You've a claim then to 2 thrones.
I have a claim to technical advertisement.
Well,
I'm not an administrator of any sort.
know, but you're married to two royal swords, aren't you?
Not yet.
Engaged at the moment. Still have to
Yeah.
actually get the wedding done.
Oh, have you considered venues?
I've done a lot of considering venues over the past year. That's been, aside from defending Everstone, getting set up and trying to arrange things for the wedding has been a significant portion of my time.
Well, you've clearly been saving the best for last, because I haven't seen you come in to try the spread that we offer at the Broken Bell.
Are you offering?
Fair ocean views, ocean breeze, finest food in Swiggle. I should say the finest food on that side of the continent.
How big is it?
How big do you want it to be?
I
We've got
have-
an open air part that with enough planning we can stretch all the way down to the docks.
I have a lot of family.
Oh, we've got a lot of chairs.
I will
You know,
I will legitimately take a look when we're all still alive.
I'll put it to you this way. Over the past summer, we held the Bellmender family reunion there.
I concede. There are a lot of you.
Ah, that's right. The world would be a more boring place otherwise.
How about you, Annabelle? Annabelle. Mine.
What about me, my lady?
Oh, how's your break been? Did you
Oh,
travel?
Actually, I did staggeringly little traveling. I tried to spend my time as close to familiar places as possible. Of course, I couldn't stay too close to Taram, but I found some places that my family used to frequent when we had our few vacations. The time that we spent establishing our connections as nobility.
Probably spent a lot
I
of
visited
time.
some of those places.
You probably spent a lot of time north, just across the channel, in the Kingdom of Adal. Most likely, it was because that would be the sort of the closest neighboring, like, a trade property, but also be fairly safe location as far as that is concerned.
So that Adal, you said?
Yeah, the Kingdom of Adal, Adall. Sorry, no, Adal.
Yeah.
No, a second now.
I spent a lot of time in Adal actually. Just establishing my own reputation as a merchant and deciding on what
Wait,
business ventures I wanted to undertake.
Hey, you've got to tell us what you're selling.
Advertise.
Well, still kind of working on that. It's a lot of raw materials, textiles, and such. I'm kind of still dabbling because my family actually does a lot in the clothing area. Like my father's actually a tailor by trade, other than being a spy, of course. And I'm trying to get away from that, but I haven't really decided what I want to do. The most of the year for me has been just exploring myself, trying to experience as many things as possible earnestly. Before this, it was always I learned what I had to learn for whatever face I needed to put on, and now I don't have to put faces on anymore. Now I can just be me. So
That's incredible. Tailor, tinker, soldier, spy, you've got it all.
well, I also talked to Mercy. He seems very interested still, which is kind of weird because
Wait, who's that?
Mercy is
the
my
fiancé.
my former fiance. It was an arranged marriage. I had been promised to him since as long as I could remember. And I wrote him shortly after I joined you all and told him that I did not want to marry him. And I wrote my family and I told them that I was renouncing my place among the Mercantis family. And then I wrote your mother and told her that I was stepping down as a member of the Grothy. And after all of that, Mercy sent me a number of letters just wanting to spend time with me. We've seen each other a few times. And he seems very interested in me for myself, which is strange because I always thought he only wanted me for what he was promised to have. Yeah.
That's not strange. Anybody who's met you for 5 minutes would know that's not strange. You're a hell of a person to get to know.
I would say more like 20.
Are you kidding? Jerisa, did you? The moment we met Annabella, she fell from the goddamn ceiling.
So
That's true. That did happen.
everyone
That
except
was one
everyone
hell of
except
an
for everyone except for Ithram's passive perception is high enough that you notice a soft snoring sound.
Here?
Look around.
From where?
Vespia has fallen asleep, like almost completely submerged in the water.
Oh no, I'm gonna.
Oh,
I'm gonna,
bless her.
I'm gonna,
No, don't. This sort of thing happens all the time. Here, Ithram, darling, give me a hand and let's get your sweet girl out of the water. I'll be the gentleman and I'll grab the shoulders. You grab the other bits.
Yeah, Ithram, Vespia fell asleep right next to you. You didn't even notice.
Yep. I just thought she was vibing, enjoying everybody telling their stories. He's okay, yeah.
So the two of you go to move Vespia, and either she's a lot heavier than she looks, or something weird's going on because you can't move her.
She's probably at the library, I would
Have
guess.
have I seen her like this before?
No.
No.
Can we make sure she doesn't drown? Because I feel like that's the most important part.
As you're also looking at her, she seems actually like locked in position spatially.
I know the spell. It only works on objects, though. No.
Yeah, right. I'm sure you and Vespi has been working pretty hard on that immovable rod. And he's elbowing.
Grumman,
Oh, for
you're not
You're-
together.
Galadir's sake.
I wish she was awake for this.
So has your beard been in the water at all?
Oh yeah, he looks like a drowned muskrat. It's just
All right.
like
Well, now it's frozen.
nice. I mean, to theorize here a little bit. He goes back to this library, converses with she checks in with other versions of herself. One might imagine in such a situation you might be locked into time and space for a moment in order to ensure that nothing untoward happens to you.
Right.
There are
Sort of
spells that
a
produce a
protection.
similar effect, yes.
or maybe there's multiple of her in there right now, and so she's really heavy.
Or perhaps that.
just knocking the ice off his beard. Says, "Oh, where was this when I was trying to ice up the water? You little rascal."
Meanwhile, Vespia, you slipped into a dream so subtly you didn't even realize you were falling asleep. A combination of the hot water, conversation, and the alcohol having been enough to send you under ahead of schedule. And as you are familiar with, whenever you fall asleep, you don't enter a restful slumber, though your body does, as far as you're aware. You fall out of yourself, out of time, out of space. Your consciousness plummeting. Down, slipping through the cracks in reality. Until you take anchor in the mind of another version of you. This version of you is a tiefling, though green in color rather than blue. wears a variety of colorful jewelry on a pair of wings that you don't have, and is a scholar as opposed to a seeker, so is indeed in a place where you would be able to see them reading through books.
Mhm.
As you watch through their eyes, they seem to be focusing on a particular series of tomes that go over a series of myth and legend and trying to piece together a story of some kind. This version of you enjoys consolidating narratives to give context to other pieces of history and lore to form a full story. What they are reading at the moment is a myth from the perspective of the author, but could very well be reality for you or those around you. At the moment, she is reconstructing the tale of the Mage King Kestrel. The Mage King Kestrel was a powerful spellcaster that ruled in an age long past, in a northern kingdom amidst ice and snow. His kingdom was not particularly well off naturally. It did not have many natural resources that were useful to it, but through his arcane workings and the collaborative effort of other magic users, all driven from their homelands for a variety of reasons, decried as witches and warlocks, scapegoated as blasphemers and apostates. They had all gathered in this harsh, unforgiving land to make something of it under his guidance. He was known as a wise and just ruler during his time. The stories about him mostly depict him as a Solomon-esque character. Someone who would pass judgment as fairly as possible, giving seemingly impossible seemingly impossible decisions in order to bring his subjects into their own conclusions rather than pressing upon them the results he desired. And his story ends in violence, in defense of his kingdom. The books that you are reading through show that a great evil sought to end his kingdom. It doesn't specify what or how, but it does say that the Mage King and his closest acolytes stood guard in a frozen path at an ancient temple to seal away his kingdom for its own protection and to prevent whatever they were defending against from getting into it, sacrificing their own lives to stop it from proceeding through the valley that they defended. This frozen valley would theoretically be his last and final resting place amidst the destroyed temple that he used as his battleground. And as this other you flips through this information, you get a map. The map is not precisely the Gran Terra that you're on, but it is very similar. And in this map, it shows a kingdom on the northern, towards the northernmost reaches of. Oh, why can't I remember the name of this continent? Because we don't go to it very often. That's why.
Yoskorba or Senesikar?
No, neither of those.
Or Galadera?
Nope. Leftheria. In northern
Leftheria.
reaches of Leftheria, where on this Gran Terra would be known as the Eastfeld. Specifically, if you were to look on this map, as you sort of mentally correspond what you're seeing, his kingdom there is a frozen, basically mountain here. And according to what you're seeing, if this myth reflects accurately, his final resting place would be right here. The Mage
Kind of at the
King-
choke point of the peninsula.
Mhm.
Okay.
The Mage King Kestrel.
Oh, I did write that down right. Awesome.
You spend the entire night, as you do every night, watching through the eyes of this person as they take this full 8 hours of your rest, piecing together this information and this story until at last they have a fairly complete manuscript, titled "The Last Stand of the Mage King." It seems that whatever he fought was never seen again, at least as far as the records for that particular region are concerned. But neither was he, nor his kingdom. The rest of you.
Yep.
So, Vespia seems to be basically unmoving.
Try
She's
one
not moving,
thing.
but she's not gonna drop.
Doesn't look like it. What was that, Cody?
It's just Ithram saying, I could try one thing, but I don't know. If she's stuck here, then I'd rather not.
Perhaps not fuck with
Yes,
things.
test.
Yeah. Normally you're in a bed when this happens, Vespia, as opposed to in a hot tub.
I don't know how well this condition and teleport will cut the wire.
Well,
Mesh.
we can, assuming this will last a night's rest, we can take turns keeping an eye out, make sure nothing.
We can also do this, and I'll just
Attacks or
shape
anything.
water enough so that there's like just a right here. So like the hot tub's gonna act like a blanket, and the water level's not gonna get that high. The water from that is just gonna go into the other hot tub, and it's gonna be overfilled a little bit, just to be sure.
Here, I'll do this. And I cast what's it called? I use this spell all the time. Hang on.
Ah, that's such a familiar
Um,
spell.
Yeah.
Third level.
No, it's fifth or fourth level. Death ward. In case.
There you go.
What does it look like now? When you cast that?
I've never cast this one before. I didn't have this one before.
What does your casting look like now?
It's she has to take time with it. It's not as much like just shoving raw energy through because she had a lot of excess ether before. So this is much more like kind of tracing around kind of things.
And as as Titania's doing that, all of you see the faintest outline of a larger figure just hovering behind, mimicking her motions. Not solid enough to get a good look at what it is, but just something much larger than Titania.
X.
As if they're both moving with the same body, but two distinct shapes. And then when the spell finishes, the figure fades.
I will help her in case of accident. It's a death ward. I'm gonna go to bed.
I could
Yes.
use a
Well,
rest
my
after
lady.
a long day on the road as well.
If I'm, are you sure this will keep her safe?
Lowered the water level enough, she should be fine, but I will stay for a while in case she wakes. And I can also leave Shikar here. And I summon him, and he's not a little teeny little baby owl anymore. He's the same colors, same like flammulated coloration, but now he's about the size of a barn owl.
The hoot is like the most masculine and deep, like bassy hoot you've ever heard. Just
Hoot.
Hoot. Like if Dwayne The Rock Johnson was impersonating a barn owl.
Gent is just up out of the tub, goes to his room, collapses on a bed.
Hey, I have a question for you.
You're welcome to try and catch up with him.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay.
Knock, knock.
There's about a 10-second pause, and then the door
there's a
swings
secret
open.
passageway between your rooms, right?
She's doing this publicly.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Do you really want to the apotheosis thing?
Yes, I do.
That was, I think, happening to me slowly, and it felt like shit. I was sick for like a year. Your ether goes all out of whack.
I'm a bit used to that. I'm sure it's going to be much more dramatic and a much more significant thing than any of us have experienced before.
Why?
Lots of reasons, probably, darling. Thrill of discovery, new experiences, my insatiable and potentially fatal curiosity.
Yep.
Also, my paranoia, my desire to have as many possible contingencies in place as I could conceivably manage. Having a bit of divinity at my fingertips, or a whole serving, would certainly extend that. And while I'm certainly not going to speak for you or for Valdeth, I feel like the two of you have gone through enough. And if anybody deserves a normal life, it's you. And despite what your grandfather did, the idea of having more time is attractive in its own way. And I would very, very much like to be in a position to wrench Alfenbar out of existence and sequester him into a place where some level of justice can be meted out. So, wanton revenge, that counts in as well.
Tanya, you hadn't noticed it before. But the amount of sort of weatheredness to Gent's face at the moment, and just the sort of general positional that he's in, reminds you a lot of the very brief glimpse you got of Alfenbar during the invasion.
Yeah.
You don't know why specifically, just something about the way he looks and the way he's behaving.
You know that a normal life for the two of us involves you in it, right? Valdez says, rounding the corner, having been listening from around the corner the entire time.
Well, I would certainly hope so, Lau.
How many gods do you know that spend their time on the mortal plane aside from one particular dickhead?
At least, well, aside from that one that I know of.
Who was confined to a chair his entire life?
Was he?
Depends on who you're talking
Was
about.
the God King?
Emperor never left that chair.
As far as anyone knows, the God Emperor never left his throne.
But was he confined, or was it a choice?
Do you
There's a
want
great
to
deal
ask
we
him?
don't know. Honestly, yes, I would.
Big choice, though, and there are other ways to see justice done. Potentially.
That's true. It's not just one thing, though. There are, like I just said, about a dozen myriad contributing factors, and despite the risk, this seems to be a very pragmatic step.
You going to ask your fiancés to be your first worshippers? Because if you've forgotten, gods here need worshippers.
I'll have to see what's involved in the ritual then. And no, that sort of thing is going to be voluntary if I become deity. And if nobody volunteers, then I'll be the weakest god walking. I'll be fine with that.
You know, godhood isn't a protection against dying, right? In this fight? That's
Oh yes, no,
gonna
that's sort of very much the the point. I'm not looking to avoid death. I'm looking to have as many tools at my disposal that I can use for the good of those I care about, and to an extent, I suppose, the world at large.
Just be
Roughly in
careful
that order.
what you're selling to buy those tools, please. Thank you.
I'll walk into it with my eyes open. Yes. And I do tend to try and consider the risks before I jump into most things. Try.
Okay. And then I will go to bed because it's been a long day.
All right, prospective god, show me what you've learned over the past year.
It's not going to be entertaining. Mostly I've learned to sleep wherever I possibly can. We'll figure something out. And he cracks probably the first smile you've seen since he walked in the door.
Anything else from anyone else?
Not before bed, no.
So you all take a long rest. Vespia, you wake up the next morning feeling refreshed,
Slightly pruny.
hovering slightly above the hot tub. For anyone that had gone, that had woken up throughout the night to go and check on Vespia, at
Yeah.
roughly the 4-hour mark after Vespia fell asleep, she floated up into the air above the water and continued to lay there until the 8-hour mark, at which point she woke up and gently descended to the floor.
Do the hot tubs have lids? I would assume like wooden lids that you can put over them.
Yeah, no one ever puts them over them, but yes, they do.
All right. Seeing that, Grumman would have moved the lid back into place and then gathered a bunch of blankets to serve as essentially, bedding and pillows and cushioning if Vespia suddenly fell. And also would, just floating in the air, I think would drape a blanket over her so she looks like a magician's trick.
Annabella would help him with that if she walked in on it at any point.
Up to y'all. Depends on how many of you are concerned about this person and feel the need to wake up and check on them.
Does she wake up with stuff drawn on her?
No, but you
I
do
mean,
wake
it's
up. You do wake up as a magician's trick for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, not drawn in you, but Grumman does have a large metal ring and is moving it back and forth along your body.
But yeah, you wake up feeling refreshed with the knowledge that you gained from your extended study. And the rest of you wake up in your varying degrees, whoever wakes up first, second, third, etc.
Once Till is awake, I will go find him.
My name's Gent now.
I'm sorry. Gent.
No, it's fine.
I was
sorry.
desperately trying to remember who Till was, and then I was like, oh, wait, right, wrong game.
Wrong game.
Which NPC of mine is this?
Gent.
Yep.
Once
Okay.
Gent wakes up,
Mm-hmm.
I will go find him.
Okay. He's probably pretty easy to find. He's in the workshop first thing, pretty much. Like he'll swing by the kitchen, grab a handful of something or a mug of something, presuming that.
Yeah, Grumman's already there.
Right,
probably.
100% before
And it'll
anybody
be
else.
like,
Yeah.
be like, oh, good morning. You see, I've got. Oh, you found the coffee, right? And then I have. Oh, okay. Talk to you later.
And yeah, he's in the workshop, and he's got all of his gear laid out, and he's just doing basic maintenance and scribing stuff for the day.
Hi.
Annabella.
You have a second?
Until we figure out where we're headed, yes. What can I help you with?
I couldn't help but overhear that you seem to be the most adamant about pursuing that quest for godhood, if it comes to that.
Yes, well, it's going to be dependent, of course, on what we discover along the way. There obviously is a lot of things we don't know, and those could inform my decision going forward, but as it stands now, yes, quite a bit.
I just wanted you to know that I definitely have no intention of competing for that spot, but I would absolutely be willing to help in the quest to acquire followers. I would help you build your following.
That's very kind of you, Annabella.
Oh.
And he kind of gives you a look. Can I make like an insight check or something to see if like is Annabella angling to be Pope?
Go ahead.
High Priestess of Ghent.
Right? Hey, there's a natural one.
Nope, just seems like a friendly gesture.
Okay, cool. I'd
really
be
nice
honored
of you.
to have your assistance.
That's
If, of course, it comes to that and I don't end up dying horribly or something along the way.
And if it doesn't, or you do end up dying somewhere along the way, I'll find some other way to help.
Honestly,
it's brave of you to take that on.
Thank you. I don't feel like I have a corner on that characteristic in our present company, but and we may run across things along the way. Really, honestly, it's going to be good to have someone to remind me on occasion that this is not all about personal accomplishment. I do have a bit of a tendency to lean that direction.
Well, I can't speak to your tendencies. I haven't really actively known you long enough. What I can say is that for my part, it's not about you. I don't dislike you, but if you're the one of us who's willing to take the risk, to make the moves, to do what's necessary to make sure the new God King is not able to hold his position or carry out his plan, I'll do what I can to help with that. And if that means making sure people are around to sing your praises so you're strong enough to put a bullet in his head, well, Far be it from me to tell you no.
Very gracious of you. I do appreciate it.
That was all. I'll leave you to your work.
If you see anybody else who needs me, you can just let them know where I am. I'm definitely taking office hours this morning.
I will do that. I'm gonna go find Grumman.
Grumman is in the kitchen. I would say
Well,
depending on what
really
time
quickly,
people get up.
Really quickly, because that was a whole conversation.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. Like, I was just telling you that's where I'm going.
Yeah,
And I didn't want to launch into a conversation. I just wanted to present a smellscape for people waking up in the house, if I can.
Yeah.
Around what time is dawn here?
Around 6-ish in the morning.
Okay, so about the first smell, depending on when people wake up or would be aware of smells, the first smell is probably a little after 5, would be coffee that is on, and there will be sort of consistently a pot of that whenever anybody's up. A little bit before dawn, there is the smell of baking bread, or at least something baking with a hint of herbs, thyme specifically, if anybody's smelling it. And then as the morning goes on, increasingly the smell of things frying, predominantly the smell of bacon slowly moving its way throughout the household.
So while Annabella is talking to Gent, Vespia, well, hang on, before we get back to you, Ithram and Sin, are the two of you doing anything specific in the morning?
No, he wakes up pretty early and just starts going through his morning routines, and starts prepping his spells for the day.
Jeremy?
Other than checking to see if Vespia's moved, but
Yeah.
the last time he checked in, she was floating. So,
Jeremy?
Nope.
No. Okay. So Vespia, you have landed. Who's the first person you're going to?
Would she have woken up before or after Ithram?
Ithram's an early bird.
Ithram typically wakes up early, so probably shortly after Ithram wakes up. But Ithram hasn't. After Ithram came in to check on you, but not very long after he woke up.
She'll go to find him first, though she has no clue whose room is who's here. So
go ahead and just roll me a d10.
10.
You sort of get out. You come out. You again draped in this blanket. You walk out of the hot tub room. Sort of look around. Look at the door that's exactly opposite of where the hot tubs are, and just walk straight into that. Ithram, are you in your room or are you in the arcane workshop?
He preps his spells in the room.
Okay. So Ithram, as you're sort of sitting on your rug-laden room, the door just bursts open as a mostly naked Vespia enters the room, having just instinctively guessed the correct room.
Good morning, I see you're upright.
Oh, I did find the right room. Yes, sorry about that. Usually happens when I'm in a bed.
We figured it was something we were not worried about. Else you would have warned us. How's your sleep? Aside from you're still soggy.
I was going to say, how pruny is she?
Not very, actually.
Not for 4 hours.
Yeah,
She's been floating up.
Yeah, she's been floating for the past 4 hours.
Drip dry your tieflings.
Also, none of you would have necessarily been in the room, but when she actually emerged from the water, anyone that had been in the room would have noticed that the water wasn't actually like affecting her.
I believe it went well. I found some information I think can be useful.
That is good. Should we gather the others? I don't know. I think I heard Grumman. I can definitely smell his cooking. Genty's in the workshop.
If they're still waking up, I'm in the middle of things, let them finish and we can do it later, but I would like to get some breakfast.
All right, then.
I should also probably find my things and my clothing.
Yeah, he probably he'll point over to his desk, and they're folded on his desk.
Thank you. She will start dressing in front of him.
Make me a, just because I'm curious, make me just a flat out charisma check, Vespia. No roll, no proficiency or anything, just charisma.
20.
Ithram, she dresses in front of you with a 20's worth of charisma.
All right, then. I see you know how to put your pants back on correctly. Perhaps you can give a lesson to Bellmender. I've seen him struggle a couple times. Last night he tripped and fell.
Does he actually say that?
No.
That would be hilarious. Little Ace Ithram just like completely unaffected by all of your wiles.
I was going to say, I can't imagine him saying that out loud because that would be flirting.
But, speaking of, Camille, you were finding Grumman, or Annabella, you were finding Grumman. Is there something specific, or were you just going to help Grumman down?
Just going to help him out and sit in the kitchen and chat like we always do.
So, eventually, is there anything else anyone's doing immediately as they wake up, or are you all ready to convene for breakfast?
Nope, breakfast. I get up earlier than normal. This is new.
Yeah.
Probably right up until breakfast, there's the sound, like from early in the morning to right up until breakfast, there's a sound of Valdez training in the center yard.
So breakfast is served.
As Annabella comes in, there is already a cup, like clearly just poured, waiting for her, with a lot of honey and like a float of cream across the top.
You know me so well.
Just for my own curiosity, is there also coffee or
Yes,
tea
I'm
or something?
sorry, yeah,
Okay, sorry. I was because I mean, like, if Annabelle literally drinks
cup
honey
of-
with cream on it, I would totally be here for that.
No, totally. Yeah, I mean that's dessert. No, it's a cup of coffee, but it's like there's a lot of honey and there's just like fresh cream across the top.
She sits and begins to drink and talk.
And eventually, you all gather for breakfast in the main dining room as usual. You all see that Vespia is up and about and moving and not significantly harmed from her tenure as a statue.
Or a magic trick.
Is your neck feeling okay, dear? I've fallen asleep in some weird positions myself, and I know the next day I always feel like the wrong side of a pretzel.
Yeah, I can't possibly be comfortable.
It's really not that bad. My body's used to it after all this time.
Well, if you want anything to loosen you up, just let me know.
How long have you been doing that?
Drummond, really? A married man?
Oh, aye, married man like me, of my age, you learn to take your own fair share of heating unguents and cooling salves, all sorts of things. It's less about the gout than the grind when you get to my age, if you follow me, young man.
I'm sorry, what did Titania say?
Oh,
Sorry.
Hang on, I gotta think back for
How long has it been going on, I believe?
Oh yeah. How long has it been going on? I'm trying to angle to figure out how old you are.
Since I've been with the library.
Oh, how long has that been? Do you have like
as long as you can
days
remember.
in there?
As long as I can remember.
How long is that? Do you have like days in there?
She gets progressively more direct.
Yeah. Or is
I
it
c-
like the Feywild where it's all like twilight all the time? Sometimes, like the parts of it.
Honestly, after a while, the years just mesh together.
No, years, plural, more than one. Yeah.
Did you have a good dream? Did it work?
It did work.
What'd you find out?
Is everyone here at this point?
Yeah.
Is there-
unless somebody specifically doesn't want to be. Once,
No, I will, because I don't want to interrupt the middle of a statement. I will just say that Grumman will give Gent like an extra plate with another biscuit. They're like cheddar cheese and thyme biscuits, big slab of butter, and a couple extra pieces of bacon. Because I think that's the first time that Gent has like actually joked with Grumman.
Yes, it definitely is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's just it's sort of like a, well, this is clearly how I show affection. Have some more food.
Jen comes to breakfast once, and I already hate it.
Yes.
Valid.
But sorry, Vespia, please continue.
No, it's fine. I remember last night there was a map on the wall.
Yes, there still is.
Plus, all of us have that.
Yes, after.
There's still a few of the individual maps on the table, as a matter of fact.
Okay. Are there any like pins or anything she can put in the map to mark something?
A handful of daggers.
That works.
There are probably yes actual pins, so that this map
There
is
are
not just
definitely
full
pins.
of dagger holes.
And yet,
Pins,
for some
figurines.
reason, it's still full of dagger holes.
No.
Because that's obviously how we make our decisions on what's most important right now. Just throw a dagger
Stab
at the wall.
Stab it.
But
I
let
legitimately,
Annabella throw
I
it because she'll
legitimately
actually
do have
hit
a bunch
something.
of darts.
Yeah.
I do have darts. They are not like throwing darts. Well, I mean, they are like dartboard darts.
Right.
Whatever she sees first, she will stick in the map.
Roll me a.
Oh no, my face!
Roll me. Oh yeah, Jeremy, go ahead and describe for the audience.
Yes, thank you. So yes, no, when Sin walks in, they are a Yanti pureblood.
Oh,
This is my favorite one.
Sort of a gold sheen, the scales along the back and going up sort of around the ears, dressed in just sort of a dark blue blackish jerkin, simple pants, boots, no real expression, and goes and quietly sits.
the same Wanty that we've seen before, or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jeremy, could I
What
ask you to
what
remind me
is
of the
their
name?
name?
Nixa.
Nixa.
Okay.
Thank you. Got it written
Oh,
down.
hey, Nixa.
Hello. Or good morning, or whatever you all prefer.
Has Nixa expressed dietary preferences or restrictions previously?
No, not
Okay.
previously.
All right. Then you will be offered a plate full of previously described food.
Cool.
Plus eggs, by the way. There are eggs done several different ways.
Roll me a D4, Holly.
Okay. 4.
Are you aiming at the spot where the burial ground was?
Yes.
Roll me a D20 plus your dexterity and proficiency.
Okay.
We're just rolling max on fucking everything.
Apparently, we're very good at killing maps.
Okay. I ask this every time. How do I roll straight D20?
/R space 1D20 plus sign, and then whatever your dexterity modifier and your proficiency bonus added together would be.
Also, on the left side of your screen, there's a bunch of icons. If you find a die, it actually has a chart that you can roll.
Oh, that's what I've been using, but I'm adding the stuff to this. I'm sorry, what am I adding to this dexterity you said?
Dexterity and your proficiency modifier.
Okay.
Eleven's good enough to hit a wall.
Yay.
Vespia just sort of reaches out and grabs something at random, and it happens to be one of the short swords that is theatrically stuck in the column. Was put there as a both a stylistic choice for the training central room, and also as a surprise defense mechanism because it's a legitimate sword that's just pretend stuck in the wall. Just grabs a short sword and flings it, and bang! The short sword just digs into the wall in the upper region of the map, kind of taking up the entirety of that peninsula that's circled on the map in Roll20.
So
Can we
I have
please
one
stop
question.
putting holes in this map?
I have one question, Vespia.
Yes.
Did that land where you intended it to land?
It did.
That's not scary at all.
Well done.
What
Maybe I'm just that skilled.
what is
Skilled,
what is
okay.
there?
Vespia, secretly, internally, your fingers slipped, and it almost didn't,
Mhm.
but you're that good.
Oh, but she's gonna play it off. She totally meant to do that.
As
Um,
someone who hits things like a pin-sized hole, like habitually, like for a living, yeah, Annabella totally realized that. She's not gonna call you on it.
Last night, I read the story of the Mage King. It's Kestrel?
Yeah, Kestrel.
The Mage King Kestrel. That is his burial spot. I'm trying to remember details of the story. I apologize.
Specifically, that's his kingdom, or where his kingdom would be if you mapped the world you saw onto Terra, onto this world. Basically, he died according to the story, he died defending his kingdom from some great evil, and his last known he basically locked his entire kingdom into a magical protective field with his sacrifice and defended this frozen valley from something, along with him and his chosen sort of mage retainers.
He defended his lands against a great evil. I'm not sure what exactly. And he locked his kingdom into this area.
And how far is that from here?
Well, you guys are all
One teleport as the Ithram flies.
Yes.
Good point.
all there. It's all there.
Can you teleport all of us?
Let me look at my spell book real quick.
I think we are actually approaching the maximum capacity of teleport
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
9
If-
or 6?
8 willing creatures.
Okay.
So
Is it yourself and 8 or just 8?
you and up to 8, so 9 total.
So we are
Yeah,
not
we're-
there yet, but we would be with Scuzz.
Once Scuzz gets
Right.
here, we'll be at
Max
max limit for
That's
teleport.
capacity, right?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Taxi's full.
Have to catch the next one.
But you only have one.
So if we add anyone else to the party, that person also needs to be a caster.
Right.
In fairness, if we can find places with circles, we're fine.
That as well.
I can cast
That's true.
teleportation circle. I believe you can as well.
Yes.
Vesper, was
There we
there
go.
any more specificity on where this Kestrel was buried, died, sequestered?
Was there
Or
John?
anything that will help us find it.
It was a temple, an ancient temple to an unknown god.
Mhm.
That he also used as a battleground in a ravine, a frozen ravine that led to his kingdom. the people that made up his kingdom were all outcasts, people that had been driven out of their own homelands for magical practitioner for practicing magic, basically. Frozen North. These are the most amount of descriptions that you really got.
It was a temple. Yeah, she'll relay all of
Just
that.
rattle it off, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose most of the ravines up there could qualify as icy and frozen.
Was it on a glacier?
Was it?
Was not noted as such, potentially, but
Keep
It
an eye
did
out
not
for it.
say so, but that doesn't mean it wasn't.
Well, and generally, one does not try to build a permanent structure on a glacier. That'd be foolish at worst and a massive waste of. Never mind.
Glacier could
Unless
come.
one is
Unless it wasn't a
potentially
glacier
very-
at the time.
Or if it was, as I believe Grumman is trying to hint, an eternal glacier that never melted.
Also that.
Or if the person building was some sort of great mad mage. You know, they build things all sorts of places.
That's also true, and I hate that that's true.
But it sounds like, we can probably see signs of old battle, look for that. Also,
Nixa, this is probably. Nixa, this is. I mean, it's. I realize it's a massive continent, but that's sort of up in Galadir's area, isn't it? Are you familiar with this part of Eastfeld?
John?
give me a either nature or history check. With advantage because of your patron.
I'm equally mediocre at both.
Awesome.
While you're doing that, Ithram is futzing around with his crystalline chronicle for the next minute.
Hey,
I take that.
18.
I'll take it.
You are familiar with there is an area that Galadir has been trying to get an agent into for a while and hasn't been successful. There is around that area on the map, there is a mountainous peninsula that is seemingly completely sealed off from time and space. Like you can see it, you know it, you can tell it's there, but anytime you try to get to it, you never seem to get closer. You've tried it yourself once and couldn't figure out what the magic was that was defending it. Galadir can't seem to unravel it himself. There's something about it is just it refuses to be accessed.
There is one place that could suffice for it. Entering it has been impossible up to this point.
So we need to find the key.
We need to find some way in, yes.
What's the problem with getting into it? Is there a really big gap outside or something?
No, you never get close. It is.
Oh. So it's a magic sort of thing.
Indeed.
One of those like inscrutable wizard locations.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do
that's
not
totally read the
scroot
wizard to
sort
me.
of thing.
Perhaps
You
if
know
there
what?
was
Never
some
mind.
sort of way to. If we could figure out some way to teleport directly into the city, I would assume that's been tried before from the outside. If we can figure out some way beyond the I see it, let me try and teleport in way.
The one person that you know of that's tried to teleport into it never came back, so you don't know if it was successful or not.
Yeah.
Have you tried walking into it backwards?
Or like through the ethereal plane?
That's not something that is within my capability, so no.
Someone did try to walk backwards into it and they got eaten by a yeti.
Isn't there a spell that allows you to sort of teleport to anything you can see?
Yes, there I have theories. My theories rest around the idea of locating information about a circle directly in, I imagine that the place avoids something as simple as I know it's there, I teleport to it. But if we can get access to a circle, that might work because it is apparently outside of time and space. Use of things like
Which-
time stop, gates,
Yeah, it could also be in a
ethereal
different
plane
dimension.
potentially, yes.
Right.
Things that actually just physically sidestep the very
Reality.
idea of distance and time might help.
Right.
Vespia, is this the
So-
sort of thing that you might be able to find in the library, or when you were looking this part up, do you think that already would have occurred to you if it was?
Would she know?
Based on the story you read, like the knowledge that you found was basically a myth.
Mhm.
There may be a myth that pertains to how to get to this place, but you wouldn't bet on finding it, or at least not finding it easily.
I mean, it was basically a myth I was reading. There may be one that's helpful, but it's a long shot to try to find.
Oh, well, that's all right. That's just fantastic information all by itself. Thank you.
We could research the archives. I'm sure if there's a record of a teleportation circle there, Saltspark would probably have at least an inkling.
That's a great idea. Who's that then?
Titania's relative.
Ooh, it kind of lowers his voice and leans in a little towards Gen. I thought we were trying to kill him.
She has more than one relative, you know, Belmander.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Is he like a great uncle or something? I vaguely remember.
Wait, was it? No, I'm pretty sure that the bad one was a great uncle.
My great uncle.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, my fake uncle.
Further back it gets confusing. But no, he's he is a skeleton who runs a library
Yes.
in Core. That's there.
He is a useful resource.
And an excellent conversationalist, too, I think.
Well,
Is there any
to be honest, I've always heard that librarians were a bit dry, so that would track.
Oh no, skeletons are kind of wet for a while before.
Oh,
Is he still in that process of the stage? Like he's got
No,
like
he's been
ligaments and
he
such like
is
hanging
dry.
off of him.
That is correct, but
Oh, okay.
were you making a joke?
yes.
I see. I understand how that is funny.
Speaking
Thank
of
you.
jokes,
I appreciate
I'm re-
that.
I'm recollecting something from last evening. You're going to have to work on that one, Grummond.
Oh, that's
Nobody
all right.
beats a bell. Nobody beats a bell. You ring a bell.
Oh no! Oh, you're referring to the broken bell. Well, that's exactly it, because it's a broken bell, so you can't beat it. You see.
Are we thinking we're going to go there today? Go to the library today to do some more research. Stay another night so that Vespia can have another trip to the library on it, or
Is that contingent upon us staying here?
I can sleep anyway.
In the background while this is going on, Grumman's like, you still look a bit confused because see, it is the fact that you can't beat it, but it's also a bell. So even if you fixed it, you still couldn't beat. This is just continuing on during the conversation.
Grumman, I love you. Hush. I think we should go now.
well, I want to go ask my mother a question really quick before we leave. But I'll go do that really quick, and then I'm already packed, so
I didn't
Correct me.
unpack from traveling here, so
Correct me if I'm wrong. Titania being very quickly packed and ready to go, that's kind of new, isn't it?
Yeah, that's new.
Okay, yeah, you get a little bit of a look from Gent on that.
Yeah.
Already, love.
Uh-huh. I mean, I have most of my stuff. I had already had already been packed from coming here, so it's fine. I don't need to grab anything from here. Else.
All right. Do you want to just go see your mother yourself, or would you like company?
I'll just go by myself.
All right.
See y'all in a bit.
Hey,
And yeah, I'll just go across the way because they're literally.
We live across the street from Titania's parents.
Yeah.
You cross the street,
Uh-huh.
entering into the slightly better grass of your mother's home.
oh man, it is greener on this side.
Whatever reason, the perimeter of the property that she teleported out of Taram stays perfectly manicured and green, while the land around it is dying of thirst. Apparently, this grass is green.
Your parents are those neighbors.
They're probably the ones that started the HOA.
They're on the HOA.
Yeah.
They are the Brute Squad.
Anyways, but yes, you go up to your family abode.
Hello.
The door is open.
Good morning. It's Tanya.
I'm aware. Come in.
I head in.
You find your mother. You don't see anyone other than your mom.
Okay.
She's just sort of in the sitting room just off to the side of the entrance, reading a book.
Okay. Hi. I think we're gonna head out soon. Trying to find some more information, but I figured I'd stop in and say hi again, properly. How have things been here since you moved?
She sort of glances around, gestures towards the world at large. A little chaotic, but I'm quite comfortable where I am at the moment.
Have you heard anything from the rest of the family?
Well, your father is out gathering the various Valkorians. He has a bit of a refuge in the Feywilds that he is using with the benefit of having the location of an escaped Archfey allows one quite a bit of bargaining power in the Feywild, so he's using your grandfather as a bargaining chip. And acquiring safe residence, basically, for a number of our family in the Feywild.
Okay.
Not all, but as many as he can find.
Armir too?
Hasn't found Armir yet.
Have you heard anything about the new emperor? He came and tried to get me to join him.
I know that shortly before his ascension, he was appearing before many Valkorians and harvesting the remnants of a divine spark that the majority of us have. Didn't appear before me, but I assume that either my divinity is not as powerful as someone else's, or that I am a much larger threat than I take myself for.
Can I insight check her?
Yeah, sure. Make an insight check.
Okay. So what we've been discussing so far.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my character sheet. There it is. 26. Is she holding back things? Is she being...
You have always had a hard time reading your mother. just flat
Yeah.
out in general. You've gotten really good at reading people over the past year and a bit's worth of events. And so as you're sitting here watching your mom talk and thinking about that fact, you realize you still can't read anything off of her. And that in and of itself is sort of an insightful like realization. There's something about the way your mother presents herself is always very matter of fact and as appears. And in that appearance feels off.
Okay.
But you can't you've no idea if she's lying to you or not. You just know that she's not. She is hiding whether or not the fact that she is lying to you effortlessly, and to a degree that you feel isn't necessarily mortally possible.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you say morally or mortally?
Mortally possible.
Mortally.
As opposed to
Thank you.
humanly, because she's not a human, she's an elf. But
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I understand.
Okay. That's good.
Mhm.
If we all of the Valkyrians in the Feywild.
Not all of them, no. The ones that your father's been able to
Not all of
find.
Do we know, like,
Oh,
I know there are a lot of us, but percentage-wise?
not a high percentage. I should also clarify, all but Brava the Younger. She has patently refused to hide. Which, as her aunt, I am slightly proud.
Okay. Well, good to hear that everything's been going well. I'm gonna head out now.
Sorry,
It
as
was
her
nice
grandmother,
to see
because she's Armir's daughter, right?
you. Yeah.
As her grandmother. It's good to see you too, Tanya. Keep your friends safe.
I will.
And you as well.
Love you.
Love you too.
And I will leave.
You leave.
Head back.
You hear the sound of the book turning a page. Right? You head back to meet with the rest?
Yep. Okay, I'm ready.
Everybody packed up, ready?
I know you said it like that because you were stretching, but in my head I imagined Ithram shouldering both his pack and Vespia's pack.
I mean, he probably would.
Buff wizard boy.
Yep.
Vespia would let him.
Grumman is doing that thing where he's like fussing and making sure everybody's bags are lined up in the hall.
Oh my god, we forgot Kevin.
Did
All right,
everybody
I'm
wash
ready to
this
go.
morning? Anybody need the privy? All right. It's going to be a long trip. Maybe. I don't know how this works.
Probably going to be a pretty short trip.
All right.
Always better to try to go and not need to than need to and haven't gone.
Come on.
And it's like, how did I get drawn into a conversation about bathroom habits with a grown-ass man?
Dude, kink shame me.
Kink
Kink shaming is my kink.
There you go, bud.
While we're all gathering around, Ithram will just, I will remind everybody that as I have never personally been here or seen this area, there's a...
Well, wait, we're going to Core, right? To go to the Black Archive?
Did you not say that we were going straight to... the Black Archives would be much better. Yes.
Yes.
But,
Yeah, no, I
uh,
think that was the plan. We were all hoping to go to the Black Archive and talk to Jack and see if we could find like a teleportation circle recording. or
Ithram still
something.
has the image of Vespia getting dressed stuck in his brain. He wasn't paying attention at breakfast.
Yeah, between that and fucking around on his Crystalline Chronicle at the
Right,
table,
yep,
yeah,
mhm.
he's like,
I'm going
missed-
on. I'm going on record right now. This is my favorite moment of the game tonight. Ithram's like in the middle of casting the teleport, and we're like, "Wait, we agree on where we're going, right?" And Ithram's like, "Wait, what?"
it's too late. I can't stop. No.
Jeremy,
I was muted and I didn't realize it, but when Jack said, I can't believe I'm having a conversation about bathrooms with a grown ass man, I said, does Grumman really count as a grown ass man though?
I 100% think Grumman is older than everybody else.
Those aren't the same thing, Craig.
all right, Jeremy.
I am certainly glad that we took the step of confirming this beforehand.
Before Ithram tried to teleport us
Yep.
into the place that we teleported into.
No, I wasn't gonna
You can't
teleport us
tell
directly.
if that's a joke or not, by the way.
Right, yeah. Yep, that's just Nixa
Because
making
Yanti.
a statement, right?
As am I, Nixa. As am I.
All right.
Right.
Right,
yeah.
then.
So
Yes.
before any teleportation
Core,
gets
please.
cast to the right place, was there anything anybody else was wanting to do while Titania was talking to her mom? Going once, going twice.
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right.
Gent's grabbing a pebble from the front drive little footpath up and stashing that in his pocket.
All right. You go grab some loose
Oh,
debris.
there's one thing. Can I think of or find a way to safely transport one of those rocks that heats the hot tub?
I mean, they're about the size of like a beach ball.
Okay, but they're also hot.
Well,
Yeah.
I suppose I could leave my beach ball behind.
They're about the size of a beach ball, and yes, it's like a bonfire. You can carry it with your bare hands. It doesn't burn. It just has the heat of a bonfire.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's
Yeah, I'm
magic.
totally bringing one of those with us.
But again, it is like you're not putting it in a bag. Is what I'm saying.
It is too big to
I
fit in
mean-
any kind of bag.
So, like, even like a magical bag? Don't we have like bags of holding or something? I
The
don't know.
problem with the bag of holding is it has to fit in the
Right.
opening,
Which
which
is
is
Oh,
usually about the size of
yeah.
your head.
Yeah, you
That's
have
a
to-
good point.
You have to be able to fit
I
it
forgot
into
all about that.
whatever. You have to be able to fit it like
Actively valid point.
physically through the entryway to get it into a bag of holding or any other clothing of
Totally
holding.
valid point. Didn't
Yeah.
think about that. That's
That's
a
Just
good
okay.
point.
but so it doesn't burn.
No, it doesn't burn.
Nah, you can
We'll
you can
we'll
pick
take
them
a
up
bed
and-
sheet and we'll make it into a backpack, and you can carry it Yoda style.
It is.
I'm
still
totally
heavy.
gonna bring it to Grummond and say, "Hey, can we bring this?" And let him figure it out.
That's a great idea. Here, hold on. He runs
As a,
back
as
off
a,
to the
as a
linen
clarification, again, it is a beach ball sized, perfectly
Rock.
spherical stone.
Probably weighs a couple 100 pounds.
It's like it. There, several of you are
So-
strong enough to carry it, but I just
Right.
want you to. I
So
want
we
you. I
need
want you
a
to per-
terry cloth,
accurately,
is what you're saying.
accurately envision the weight of this thing.
Yes, but Grummond doesn't care. That's the point.
it is a small boulder the size of a small boulder.
Right.
Which is
I'll
to
just put
say,
it in. Hey,
Annabella
hey,
wants a bath when we're not
I'll just put it
here.
in the hall.
Also, Grummond doesn't care.
Yeah, you can put it in the hall.
I do have the dragon's hall. I'll just put it in the hall. It's been a while. This is the like giant dragon's tooth that is basically a hover sled. I'll just put it in there.
Yeah, you put it in the hall.
Been a while.
It's been a while. All right. So you put it in the hall. You have one of the firestones with you
Right.
for warmth.
Not
Which,
already.
might be useful in the frozen waste we're
I was
about to
gonna
be
say-
going into.
Packed my warm clothes.
Yeah.
And
Grumman's
Yeah.
back into like cargo pants, suspenders, and sleeveless tee.
Looking like every teenager that tries to hike across Europe for their gap year.
No, looking like an old man out to paint the side of the house.
Okay, that too.
Yeah, I don't mean I'm sorry, I don't mean I don't mean cargo pants. I mean these are more like coveralls.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
He also has a broad brimmed straw cap that has something written across it in Dwarvish.
What does it say in
I speak Dwarvish.
I was about to say.
We also
It says Swiggle's #1 grandpa.
Yes.
It's a white straw hat with that written across it in blue thread
Wonderful.
in like dwarven runes.
Right. Yep.
All right.
All right.
Everybody gathered around the teleportation circle.
Yep.
Start casting the spell, and then right before we go, and remember, the most important thing is not to, and then we teleport.
So, puts the hands together. There's a flash of blinding blue light as reality peels away before all of your eyes. And you all, where are you targeting, Ithram?
The core.
The
circle
teleportation
that I have.
circle in core, or just in core? Because you've been there before.
Yeah, the teleportation circle in core.
Okay, so 100% accuracy. You don't have to worry about it. So yeah, put it together, and there is the sort of pulse of magic as you all sort of stumble onto your feet as if dropped from a very short height. In the teleportation room in core, there is a fairly large domed room that you're in, with a table next to the exit that has a book and a quill in an ink pot there. And behind that table is a very, 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 very wizened looking old man. The kind that makes kind of like he fell off a keychain, you know, that it's like
I believe the phrase fell off a charm bracelet.
this long white beard, Merlin-esque beard, no mustache, long crooked nose, looks like it's been broken a few times, long white hair, classic pointed top, sort of like pointed wizard hat, broad brimmed, mostly like sort of white grays and browns in the robe.
And holds back from telling Grumman to swap hats with him and he'll look Amish.
This old wizard looks up. Oh, well, welcome to Core. Please sign the travel log.
Yep. Walk over, sign in.
He's just sort of staring at you, Ithram. With that look of someone who is half seeing you and half remembering something you reminded them of.
Yeah.
Hey, Ithram, did you sign for the Steel Hearts or did you sign for you?
I think normally I sign for the Steel Heart, so that's probably what I would
Good.
have done.
Okay, that's all.
I like your hat. Is it from here in town?
What? No, I have a catheter.
No, not that hat. The other end, the top one.
What?
I've been there. It's rough.
No, I'm not going. I'm not going to a dance.
Oh, you really should. You know, you got to pop your knees a couple different ways, but once you get them nice and loosened up, you can get out there and really rattle around it. I mean, not literally.
Okay, Grumman,
Let's
let's leave the man to his job.
There's some you feel something behind you as a spectral hand is just pushing you forward.
Wait, you can't tell me you don't want to see this man on the dance floor.
Grumman, look at me.
It would
Enough.
sound like someone
gotta
dropping
go.
a handful of coat hangers down the shingle roof.
Focus.
As they're ushering Grumman out of the room, Nixa goes up and signs separately as Nixa. Vespia does as well.
Don't forget your calcium.
So there's some sort of like ancient muttering behind as Grumman leaves.
Oh,
Ginkgo
fuck.
biloba.
Grumman, you made the shit list.
Gent
recognize the
silently
curse
walks
under
pa-
everybody's
right,
breath.
yeah. Gent silently walks past out the room and then makes his way up behind Grumman, just leans over kind of right next to his ear and goes, "Prune juice."
Why would you do that?
The cause of and solution to a great deal of my problems in the morning, my friend.
So you
And
are
This
then-
is
in
why we
core.
can't have nice things.
You are all. Most of you have been to core before. Grumman, you haven't. This is the first time Grumman's been to core,
No,
I believe.
first time.
Yeah. Vespia, obviously, the first time you've been to core. Most of you know core to be a bustling, fairly urban city, with sort of a healthy marketplace, and being as it is one of the largest docks on this particular section of the continent, and also it's one of the primary dock really of the area of the kingdom of Adal. So when you step outside and the marketplace is empty of stalls and people, it sort of hits you a little bit. For Grumman and Vespia, it's sort of like fairly standard human architecture, large stone columns, pillars, square buildings. Not a lot to see, not a lot of activity at the moment. Seems fairly, you'd say ghost town, except for the occasional member of the Core Knight Rangers patrolling that sort of nod to you and continue on their way. Core Knight Rangers wearing their very easily identifiable green cloaks that have the symbol of Core on them, bows and quivers on their backs, swords at hips, just patrolling in what seem to be very well-worn patterns. And those of you with higher passive perception scores than the others notice that while mostly cleaned up, there is the occasional sort of blackened char on some of the white marble of the buildings around.
What does Grumman know about this in relation to the rest of the group? Like, does he know if anyone's from here?
As far as you know, nobody's from Core. They've been here before.
Okay.
Itherm's probably got the most sort of experience in the region, I think.
Yeah,
It's
probably grew up closest.
It's nice. It's quaint.
Different.
It's also much quieter than usual.
Well, they were recently attacked.
Mm.
Oh, right.
I assume. Points at one of the scorch marks.
Probably be a fair bet.
Archives this way, though, I think.
Correct.
You lead the way. Walking through the streets of Core, again, it is very odd for those of you that have been here before. Mostly empty, very few people. You do see the occasional group of people that aren't guards, but it seems like all traffic happening in the city at the moment is very, very quickly moving from one building to another, not staying or lounging or taking their time. The purpose of being out in the open is to get out of the open.
Is anybody's behavior like indicating, like, are they looking at the skyline or the roof lines, or are they just moving quick? Like, does this seem like it was an aerial attack, or was it just an assault of a more standard nature?
Their attitude mostly seems to be as terrified and sort of timid as the setting seems. Their attitude is mostly very mechanical and purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem scared of an attack. It seems more like they are in a state of readiness.
Right. Okay.
You don't notice any sort of like bereavement or grieving or like long list of the dead or anything like that.
Right.
It's mostly just the city is on alert.
Right.
And
World War
everyone
II era Great Britain, keep calm, carry on.
It's
everyone
DEFCON
is-
1, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone is attending their daily duties and functions as best they can, while the Core Knight Rangers and the city guard are patrolling.
Gotcha.
You do notice that there are more Core Knight Rangers than city guard at the moment.
Yeah.
The city guard very distinct from the Cornet Rangers. The Cornet Rangers are wearing leathers and cloaks. They look more like they should be on patrol on the roads rather than in town. And the city guard wearing chainmail, similar green cloak with the same symbol of core, but very much heavily armored with swords and shields. But fewer of them than there are the Rangers. And
if nothing disturbs us, Gent's going to try and head straight towards the archive.
Yes, no, and also just another thing. None of you notice any Knights of Adal. This being part of the Kingdom of Adal, the Knights of Adal are yet another fairly Knights of Adal cut a fairly identifiable figure. You know that. Jeremy, I can't remember your other character's name.
Ariel?
Ariel, yes. You know that Ariel carried an Adalian blade, which was a sort of a double blade that could be split apart into two swords. Knights of Adal are pretty much renowned for dual wielding as a habit. The founder of the kingdom, the Roland Adal I, was a well-known dual wielder, and from his lineage, all of the Knights of Adal train with both hands and weapons, and specifically the Adalian blade is sort of homage to that, in that it is a two-handed weapon that can be split apart for both hands. So they are very identifiable. They stand out amongst the various other armored individuals you might see. You see none of them in core. Which, considering
what did I know their numbers to be like before all this started?
The Knights of Adal? Adalian Knights are not particularly populous. They're probably the majority of the militarized group in this region are the Cornet Rangers. They are the most widespread. They are the largest. Behind them is the Sundered Templar, who are a paladin order that originates in the northern region of the Kingdom of Adal. And then behind them, the Knights of Adal. The Knights of Adal number a few thousand, total. So they're not hugely populous, but there should still be a few if this place was attacked recently.
So of the lot of them, of the three that you just listed, the Knights of Adal are the only ones I noticed that aren't there.
You're not seeing any Templars either. You're also not seeing any Sundered Templars, but that's a little less curious. The Sundered Templar,
less conspicuous. Okay.
Yeah, the Sundered Templar typically keep to themselves unless they're needed. Well,
so the only thing that sticks out is that I don't see Knights of Adal.
Yeah.
And they should. So, other than not having been attacked recently, is there any other reason I can think of that they might not be around?
I mean, there aren't a lot of them. Maybe they're needed elsewhere, but there is a presence of the Knights in every city in the kingdom.
So, regardless of the fact that they are not. I'm sorry, I don't mean to monopolize time, but the fact that they are not present is like a red flag, right? That means
it's conspicuous.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, eventually you all reach the Black Archives. This fairly squat, single-story building.
And I, the player, am forgetting my ancient history. Is that was the merger because they lost that war with Adal, or because of a peaceful merger? The reason that Core is part of the Kingdom of Adal.
According to history, the Kingdom of Adal basically protected Core from an outside threat, and over their relationship became close enough that they eventually just sort of absorbed the area that Core used to occupy as an independent state. And it just became a part of the kingdom. There's no specific event that is noted as the reason they became part of the kingdom. But you all find yourselves outside of this.
Yashkar smirks from the distant past.
This squat black stone building with a large wooden double door. And as you approach it to begin entering into the Black Archive, that's where we are going to stop for the week. I'm not for some reason losing an hour, even though it feels like I have. I was like, wait, no, we still go for another hour. No, we don't.
No.
So that'll be it for this week. We'll see you all next week with more Terra. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.